Good morning. How are you today? This video is going to be about why you gain weight on macros or why you're gaining weight on a new calorie plan or meal plan. Okay? I want to talk about this hot topic. I hear this all the time in different groups that I'm in and coaching groups and things of that nature. Not everybody is the same, guys. And so we can't be looking to prescribe just a certain number based off of height, weight, age, activity level. There are so many other things that come into play when determining your maintenance calories and the correct macros for you. All right. So let's talk about how this whole thing started for me and how I started to realize that different people need different numbers depending on many different factors. Months ago, I was helping a group of ladies, and they had all been eating very little, right? And so if you have a past history of eating very little, think about what's going to happen. You're going to plug in your numbers into a calculator, get your generic numbers based off of your height, weight, age, activity level, and that may be a lot more calories than you used to eat, okay? So if you are going from a 1200 calorie diet and doing a lot of cardio, and all of a sudden this plan says, oh, you're supposed to be eating 1800 calories, you get nervous and you post in a group, I don't know about this. This macro calculator said that I'm supposed to be eating this much. What is the answer that everyone gives you? Trust the process, right? And so I see this time and time again, and that is so hard for me to see, because if you don't take into consideration someone's past history, obviously someone coming from a 1200 calorie diet up to an 1800 calorie diet is going to gain weight. Obviously, right? So without taking into consideration the past history and what a person is eating now, those are the things that we have to determine when we ease into a macro plan, macro counting, calorie budget, things of that nature. The other day, just 2 days ago, or maybe it was yesterday, I was speaking to a friend of mine who's been eating 1,000 to 1,200 calories a day, and she weighs a little bit more than me. And so imagine that. I mean, she would plug in her numbers into a macro calculator, and it would probably tell her that her maintenance calories are 1,900 calories. She works out 5 to 6 days a week, super intensely, and that's what it's going to tell her. So she's going to go from, I mean, that's almost doubling her calories. Obviously, her weight is going to skyrocket straight away. And this is not what we want to happen. I actually spoke to a lady one time who was getting married, and she was prescribed a macro plan and had gained 8 pounds in like 6 weeks. Was horrified. And it's because it didn't take into account what her past history was. Super, super important. Okay, so that's thing number one that's going to make you gain weight if you're prescribed a macro plan. Another thing that needs to be considered is your metabolism. Do you see that on any macro calculator? Anything like that? What is your metabolism? What would you even plug in to that? Right? So we don't typically take into account someone's metabolism. And that's super important. How do I know if you have hypothyroidism? How do I know if you don't have hypothyroidism? Maybe someone's metabolism is super high, whereas someone else's may be low, but those people are the same size, age, weight, and one of them is totally different. Great example is myself. I have clients in my coaching group who are older than I am. They may work out a little less intense than I do, and they're eating considerably more than I do. And that's because my metabolism is slower than those ladies. I have a lady in my group, 57 years old. She's eating 2,100 calories because she can. God bless her, right? And right now I'm decreasing my calories a little bit. I'm in a deficit and I'm at 1,550, very low, right? My maintenance calories are between 1,700 and 1,800 calories, even when I'm working out really hard, because my metabolism is slower than a lot of other people. So metabolism is a very, very important consideration, and I'm going to tell you how you figure these things out once we get to the bottom, okay? Number 3, obviously, is your age. This is very obvious. As you get older, your basal metabolic rate declines a bit. Real life. And so your maintenance calories may go down a little bit. All right, so that is a factor. Hormones obviously are a factor. There's people that I know in another group. There's a gal in there. She looks amazing. She's 62 years old. She has this gorgeous physique. Oh my gosh, really? Maybe I should invite him in my video. She has this gorgeous physique and she's on HRT, hormone replacement therapy, right? And that is why she looks so great and so young, because she is not really in menopause. No, her body is not making those hormones anymore, but she is taking bioidentical hormone replacement. And so her body is going to behave in a younger way than someone who is 61 or 62 years old, the same age as her, the same workouts that she's doing. They're not going to get the results as someone who is doing HRT, right? So these are things that can affect that as well. Activity level. This is another thing that I see a lot. I exercised today. I walked 10,000 steps. That's not exercise, guys. That's just you moving around. That's NEAT, we call non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Cheers. So that can't be considered your exercise. That is super important. We do want to move our bodies, yes. But if you're plugging into a calculator that you are exercising and that is your exercise, Pilates, yoga, walking, anything low intensity is not going to count as exercise when you're figuring out activity level for maintenance calories. Make sure you understand that completely, okay? It does count as a workout for health, longevity, taking care of yourself. Of course it does. But these things can't be taken into account when talking about maintenance calorie level. If I have someone doing Pilates, they aren't going to burn that many calories doing that. Okay, their calorie burn for that workout might be 100 to 200 calories. That is my calorie burn for like 45 minutes of Pilates. It's just not very intense. So we can't say, oh, I exercised for an hour, when one person might have run for 7 miles and another person may have done yoga, right? So these are things we need to take into consideration, because one is going to burn a considerable amount of calories more than the other. Okay, so number 6 I have is what you're eating. Oh, people. The statement, oh, if it fits in your macros, yes, you can eat whatever carbs you want. That's not what we do in my group. That is not what we do in good, healthy coaching groups. It is not eat whatever you want. We don't eat Fruit Loops for carbs. No, we do not. Protein can't come from shakes all day. This is my 1 shake per day. The rest of my protein is going to come from actual food. You know, this is something that I see a lot. It's either one way or the other that is not going to work for you, okay? One way is the shakes and the manufactured foods and things to meet the macros, like Built bars and protein shakes and manufactured food during your run, these gel packs and stuff. Guys, that's not nutrition. It can be a supplement, of course it can, but it can't be the bulk of your calories for the day. Please don't do that to yourself, okay? We need to eat. We need to eat real food with nutrients in it. Super, super important, okay? And then we don't want to go on the other end here, where we have absolutely no supplements and we're barely eating anything, and we're trying to meet our macros by, just throwing throwing spaghetti at the wall, right? I'm just going to eat whatever and just kind of hopefully it'll figure itself out at the end of the day. We do want to have a balance between these two things, okay? We don't want to just be eating manufactured foods, obviously, and we don't want to just be eating whatever and then at the end of the day saying, I did my best, and I didn't know what I was doing. Okay? We have to have a plan. So here's the deal, guys. In my software, my coaching program, it integrates all this stuff. For me and my ladies in my group, my software integrates macros, and that's calories and macros to the gram. Okay, it integrates your food logs, it integrates custom workouts that we create for you, that I create for you, it integrates your steps, your Apple Watch, your Fitbit, your resting heart rate. All of these things come together. Okay, the more data that we have on you and the more that we can track you, so I can be like big brother to you, right? The more and easier it is to find out what works for you, to find out what tweaks we need to make in order to make your plan correct for you. So let's take myself as an example, because maybe you don't want to have a coach, which is fine. Let's talk about how you can do this for yourself. I'm going to pretend that I'm just this regular lady, don't know anything about diet and nutrition. I exercise 2 times a week and I want to figure out my macros. Okay. So I'm going to take my weight, 140. I'm going to multiply it, say, by 10, right? That's 1,400 calories. Let's call that my basal metabolic rate. I'm going to add some calories on that based on my workouts, okay? Maybe I use this terrible calorie tracker just as an average. I know my workouts in my Fitbit app maybe burn about 300 calories. Okay, so I'm going to work out days. That's 300 more calories, and I can average all this out over the week. Some days I'm at 1,400 calories, other days I might burn 1,700. Add those up, take an average, maybe that is your calorie budget, and that will be your starting point. Okay? For your protein intake, you want to do maybe 0.8 times your body weight. Okay, so 0.8 times whatever your body weight is in pounds, that can be your grams for your protein that you start at. If that number looks really high, try to get to 100. Try to get to 100 a day and start there. You don't have to worry about anything else yet. Once you start there, start tracking and logging foods and figuring things out, then you can move on from there, right? See, another thing that I see often is people want to rush this process. Okay, how many carbs should I have? How much fat should I have? How much exercise should I be doing? Hold on. Let's start figuring out what we're eating first, okay? Let's start logging some things. Let's start becoming aware. Let's start figuring out where we're at so we can figure out where we need to go. What changes do we need to make? Okay, this is what we do in coaching. Okay, so you can do this for yourself. Yes, of course you can. You can troubleshoot these things, make some tweaks, reach out for help. Yes, right? Or you can hire someone to do that for you. This is just like life. You can paint your own floor like we did here in our tiki hut, or you can hire someone to paint it for you, right? It's all up to you. So I hope this helps you to troubleshoot your macros. Is a little bit longer than I expected, but I wanted to make sure that I could get this information out to you so you can take a look at what you're doing. Try to figure out maybe where you're going wrong. Maybe you have a slower metabolism like I do. Everybody thinks I have this super fast metabolism because I work out all the time, but genetically that's just not how I'm made, right? So we work with what we've got, and we make the most of that, and then we can get our results, right? I hope this helped you. Have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Take care.